Michael Dunworth, the crypto founder and investor. This guy's like the wizard of crypto.
The first Tesla was bought with Bitcoin through us.
Wow.
The first apartment was bought. The first wedding ring was bought. Bolt comes in and they're like, hey man, you're worth more than $1 billion. And you're like,
Wow.
You talking to me? Hi guys, just need you guys to transfer the money now. They're like, oh, we're out.
Welcome back to Crypto Finder. We're here with Michael Dunworth, the crypto founder and investor.
Thanks for having me.
Good to be back.
Good to see you.
And I remember meeting you for the first time. I think it was at the Fullerton, and you were speaking, and I came into this room and it was full to the brim. This is like 2017. It was full to the brim, max full. We couldn't even sit down.
Yeah.
And you were speaking, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy's like the wizard of crypto. Like he knows everything." Everyone was like, tell us your secrets. Like Bitcoin's flying. It's changing every day. That was the moment. And what I remember was like the price was just going around so crazy, and you were just calm and cool. You were like, like it goes up, it goes down.
Nonchalant. Once you start eating that poo sandwich for a while with Bitcoin's price volatility and stuff and crypto in general, you get so battle tested with it. So it's like, you know that meme of the guy on the roller coaster who's not excited at all? It's literally that.
Yeah.
It's 100%. So,
you were that guy.
Yeah, 100%. And I still am that guy. Maybe even worse than that guy now, like even more bored. But it was, so by 2017, that was a piping hot era for everything. So that was, and most of your audience, Crypto Finder, right? In 2017, that was ICO mania. Ethereum, Aave, Compound, all DeFi was born literally in that era. 2017, they had the first DeFi meetup in San Francisco, and these guys coined the term, and now you've still got people from that era that are still crushing it. You've got the people like MakerDAO, which is renamed to Sky. You've got Compound, you've got Aave. Obviously Coinbase and Base are still, they're rocking their stuff. But yeah, wild times. And that was, to think about 2017, because of COVID sort of feels like this fast forward a couple of chapters or a couple of seasons, where it's sort of that was 3 or 4 years, but it feels like 2017 was 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know if it's just you or me, but that was a golden era. Anyway, 9 years and 2 bull markets or 2 halvings later, let's say. Carnage, but cool in a way. Obviously you've got all this, there's so much happening now. New kid on the block, Solana. So Solana wasn't even a word in 2017. No. In fact, I think they did their ICO in 2018 maybe. So they were sort of just on the tail end of that. But that whole era of 2017, that was the, what do they call it? The Cambridge explosion or Cambrian explosion, where everything starts multiplying, basically. And so there was one of the plays, the reason why that kind of got off the ground was because there were a lot of fund managers, so crypto VC funds, where they were like, well, we don't need to bet on the company and hope that it becomes a company in 6 years and makes an exit and stuff. These tokens, we can buy these tokens because let's say you got Finder and you're like, you know what? Finder token, and everyone that uses Finder gets a kickback and rewards and stuff, but you build wealth into this token. So they were like, well, we can just buy these tokens. And so that created a whole new sort of vertical for venture capital. And so you got people like, Kyle Samani, who is Multicoin Capital. They're a really good example of one of the big crypto VCs that kind of grabbed it and ran with it. But it opened up a lot.
If you think about those, the ERC20 standard was obviously one of the keys of that. Yeah. And then, the NFT standard, and I think those are obviously key unlocks. But what's your reflection, if you look at that now, feel that feeling back then, and now look at those systems and those things that have developed and grown. Yeah. What are your reflections between those two times?
Too much money too quickly. That's so the kid that gets everything very early, let's say you got a friend from school, the rich kid from school, and he got all the PlayStation, he started skateboarding, got the best skateboard, he started snowboarding, got the best snowboard. He was never the best though. He was never the best at it. He was just always had the resources. And that's, I feel very fortunate is in companies, you don't want to get all the money easily. Especially with these guys, because what Fred's implying is at that time, these guys were raising 50 to 100 to 200 million dollars in these ICOs. And what happens when you give a bunch of people $200 million with very little to no expectations in return? Obviously, people want this token to go up, but that's a lot different to building stuff. You can make the token go up much easier than you can to deploy and activate big hardware systems or data centers or something. So
audits,
that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of noise that goes into execution versus pumping the stock or pumping the token. And so looking back, the ones that did the best, I think personally, the ones that raised the most got all the hard stuff, or got everything too quickly, basically. So they weren't as hungry, to be the biggest, the best, or execute. Another problem with, and this isn't a problem, but just sort of reflections, right? So who did well? The teams that did well were the ones that raised a portion of money. They didn't go, oh, we're raising, 300 million ICO, blah, blah, blah. It was more like an earn out of the token. Great example, MakerDAO. They wouldn't let people buy MKR's token, which is now called Sky. You couldn't buy it. You had to contribute to the community. And they only wanted, I think at the time it was basically physicists, economists, or like hackers, basically. So it's like you're either a financial hacker or you're an actual hacker, but they're the only tools or the people supporting us that we want to hold the token, because if it's a voting token, it's like giving everyone a board seat. It's like, 100%. You don't want to sell a board seat just because someone bought your token.
I think what's interesting, go back to that. Some of these projects, they've lasted, like you ones you referenced. But if you go back in time, I think for yourself, you were. Let's go back to before you went to San Francisco. You were in Sydney doing some financial software. Doing a side hustle restaurant booking app. And Bitcoin wasn't really a thing. This is like 2013.
No, that was 2011, 2012. So,
then where did you know to go? Okay, I need to go all in on crypto.
Okay, this is the biggest accident you've ever heard. I'm not even, people go like, you just got lucky. Yeah, I got lucky. Like there's a horseshoe up my butt right now. We were building this website where basically there's a browser extension. So at the time we didn't have Apple Pay. This is 12 or 14 years ago. There was no Apple Pay. Every single time you want to buy something, you have to automatically enter all your credit card details, then your phone number, then your address and everything. That was a massive ball ache. And we were like, well, it'd be better to have a one-click checkout, just in general, right? Like if I've already entered my stuff, I may as well be able to like reuse it. And so this is before they have all your stuff saved in the browser. And so we were like, well, let's create a browser extension. So when you go on any website, you can build your shopping cart. So I could go to Zara, then Walmart, then Target, but I don't have to enter my stuff 100 different times. And so we did that, and we were like, oh, well, technically, if we've got their card on file, it means that we're buying the stuff for them and charging their card separately as like a bundle. I was like, well, it means we can sort of use different payment methods as well, technically. And it's like, yeah, I suppose. So we're like, well, why don't we just as like a promotion say, yeah, you can buy with Bitcoin as well. And we added in because we just thought Bitcoin was cool. Like, not like, government, screw the printing of money. Like, I didn't know that. I'm not smart enough to know that stuff now, but I feel like crypto existing has educated a ton of people on all that stuff. But it was almost literally an accident. We said, well, let's do it and we'll share it with the Bitcoin community. Because by the way, I say Bitcoin because it was 2013. Nothing else existed. And then there was no Ethereum or anything.
You took that knowledge and then you turned that into Wyre? Or
So basically what happened was we added Bitcoin as an option to check out. And basically the Bitcoin community was like, oh my God, I can spend Bitcoin everywhere now, because we didn't need to be natively integrated to Amazon or Walmart. It was an overlay. So we could sort of bypassed everything. And the Bitcoin community, I had no clue, but the Bitcoin community like, oh my God, we can't buy anything anywhere like to this degree with this much freedom. And so they got around it. And after like, I reckon 2 months, or less, it would have been a month, we were like, okay, everything, like just that, whatever that community is, that is it. Like we'd sort of thrown out this value prop of checking out wherever you want and not repeating your details. But that pain point that was sort of uncovered in that process, we go, let's lean into this. And so that's when we said, all right, so we're allowing people to shop on websites. And we got lucky because this is 2013. So the price went from $70 or $40 in April to $780 in like October. And then it topped out at $1,200. And so when you're trying to spend Bitcoins, if you bought them for $5 and they're now $400, you're like, fuck, this place allows me to buy everything. Man, I'm getting the TV, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. We had some amazing transactions and we published them in our blog with the at the discretion of the person. We didn't name names. But like, the largest item we did was the first Tesla was bought with Bitcoin through us. Wow. The first apartment was bought. The first wedding ring was bought. Wow. So we had all these cool people, but it was kind of interesting where this dude's like, all right, guys, here's, 300 Bitcoins. I need to buy this $40,000 ring. Can you imagine? Like, that wife's finger is wearing like 300 Bitcoin. It was, 300 Bitcoins converted to, 35,000, but damn, that's a heavy finger now. Yeah. That's like,
well, it was, now what it is.
Yeah.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've bought with Bitcoin?
I did have an answer to this. Well, I was about to say Bitcoin mining rigs. They're the worst investment I've bought. No, but that's like to give back to the network. I've got a great story for you. I paid 7.5 Bitcoins for a surfing trip with my brother in 2015. Oof. That's a lot, but at the time I had no money. I only had Bitcoins. I was like, oh shit, I got to keep that for rent. Fuck it, I'll just sell it. But you know what? To this day, 2026, I still wouldn't change it. And that's why it was like, wow, that's like, that can actually give you experiences. And so I talked about like these things like, what's the coolest thing you bought or whatever. And I'm boring. Like I was going to buy a Lambo. I literally was going to buy a Lambo and the whole market crashed. And all my friends are like, you still buying? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not buying a Lambo now, you idiots. Like, and that was like younger me being like hyped. And now I'm like, no, like, how do I like pay my bills? How do I like cover the mortgage or whatever it is? And so like the coolest thing I probably bought was like, it was actually just like my lifestyle where I use my assets and borrow against them because I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mind paying tax. That's fine. It's just all such a punish. I'm dyslexic, ADHD, whatever you want to call it. I cannot do paperwork. I barely read. So it's like really challenging for me. So I'm like, well, this means that way less reconciliation with the accountant. Great, cool, I'll take that. But it gives you this flexibility of really cool things. So it's not like, oh, I got the new flat screen TV. I mean, that's mad. And, some people have been fortunate enough where, maybe they've bought a home for someone they love and, or their parents don't have to work again. So there's all those kind of things as well. But like the coolest thing was like, oh man, being able to borrow against it, just a small amount and being able to show my other friends how to do it. Because whether they got $5,000 or $500,000, it's about, oh fuck, the days when when I was young, dude, I get paid, and if I got paid monthly, it was like, okay, I'm the richest person I've ever met for days 1 and 2, and then it's cereal for the next 28 days and bumming money off my mates. But like literally, that was it. But these things kind of like give you this chance to have a little bit of a buffer, like that little line of credit with yourself. So if you've got your 10 grand of Bitcoin, you're like, shit, I've got to get this wedding present and it's $150 and I just spent that money on petrol because it's so expensive now and and I've got my rent due for $400. That can take like, oh, well, if I know this isn't going to do any harm to my liquidity or my collateral ratio, well, maybe I can take $100 from that, and then that just softens the blow.
Almost a line of credit. So 2014 was pretty brutal, and so
super brutal.
2018 as well, and you've seen that.
Yeah.
And then 2021, 2022 is pretty gnarly as well.
Yeah.
That's like 3
crypto
cycles.
Winters. Yeah.
What kept you going when everyone was saying Bitcoin's dead?
That's a good question. I think for me, and like a lot of people gravitate towards different coins for different reasons, right? Like, everyone's wants to do a lot and the communities are trying to cater to a lot. But I think for me, it was the persistence. So like 2012, knowing a farmer doesn't stop farming because they had a bad season. They know when you start farming, it is up to nature. Like that is that's the weather that you come in with the risk of that. But one thing the farmer knows is that the weather always continues and usually has consistency to it over, it's got this season, that season, that season, and that season. Bitcoin's very much like that. And I thought of it like, well, if I'm a farmer and this, like, it's almost like planting fruit. So if I want free fruit, everyone can get it. You buy a strawberry, it's got all the seeds in it, plant them and wait. We don't want to wait. That's the thing. So I've got to wait for my free fruit. And I'm like, well, Bitcoin's like that. You plant it or you buy it and don't touch it. That's the trick. It's like everything else wants you to touch it. Everything else wants your attention. Everything. And even more and more every day in this environment, it's extremely hostile to our attention. But this thing was the one thing, and the reason I stuck with it was because I really liked that it would not change for anything. And so it didn't matter whether you were the president, it didn't matter whether you were the poor person, the rich person, its way or the highway. And I thought that discipline was wildly refreshing because I'd never seen something like that, that its superpower was saying no. And right now we're in a world where all we do is say yes to everything. Like but you know, we don't get taught this in school, but no is a complete sentence. You don't need to be like, no, sorry, I can't because of that. No. Do you want to go to dinner? No, thank you. Oh, dude, come for 100 beers, man. Nah, I'm good. Why not? And then you got to sing for your supper like you're on trial, you know, like that kind of stuff. I feel like it's sort of, in the environment we're in, Bitcoin's resilience, that was really powerful. And I thought, that's incredible. And I thought of it like, it is ebbs and flows. One thing I did learn was you can't change the weather in terms of Bitcoin with the cycles. It has to do what it has to do, because at the end of the day, it is like any nature or environment. It's made up of many, many, many small individuals. Like, so it's, you know, Bitcoin or crypto is full of 200, 300 million individuals, all with competing interests. And so that pulls things in different directions. But yeah, being able to weather the storm, when you go through the first storm, so 2013, mad, everything was awesome. Oh, Bitcoin's flying, it's doubling every month. Oh my God, we just got so lucky. We picked the perfect, you know, sort of side quest to iterate on for our business. And then it was 2014. Dude, 2014 crypto winter, oh my gosh, it felt like an eternity, because there was nothing else. So now in a down market, at least you can still go on DeFi, you can still go on meme coin trading or whatever. There's still action because there's stuff there. But this was almost like going to a party and, not even going to a party. It's more just like, oh, the show's over. It's literally dead. Like, as in, like, there was no one talking about anything. There's a few diehards, but because there was nothing else other than Bitcoin. At the time, there was Litecoin and Namecoin and Feathercoin, which were all sort of just derivatives of the same thing, but there wasn't anything creative like ERC20 or ERC721 for NFTs. That didn't exist yet. So it was real questioning your life decisions, and like all the VCs, because everyone wasn't sure how cyclically it would be. We now know that it is like seasonal. So a farmer, they can have a shit season, just like we can have a bad bull market, but it is seasonal, and those 4 years are like 4 seasons. And so you got to know when to harvest your crops. You don't harvest your crops and like I'm so shit at farming. I've never farmed in my life, but I'm sure there's a harvesting time and there's a not harvesting time. And the farmer doesn't know. The farmer doesn't go and go, fuck it, just harvest them now. We're just sort of like, just sell the coins now. Fuck it, let's take it. It's like, and you build your own resilience through experience. And sort of like, if you're looking at something for its value prop, right? Let's say, Aave with financial products, or MKR or Sky governance, the Sky protocol now with stable coins like DAI. If you've got a value prop, your value prop can still exist in bear markets and bull markets. Like a great example is like, savings, borrowing money is probably going to be a bigger thing in bear market times, actually. Or sorry, not in bear market times, but basically there's times when people are borrowing, there's times where people aren't borrowing. There's times where people want to trade, there's times where people don't want to trade. It's just literally about, the only thing I feel like lucky from being early is actually just that experience. It's not like, oh, I know Jimmy who can get me in on this and that and that. That's a bonus or something, but it's more like my cortisol. I know how to manage my cortisol okay, because I'm like, my friend's like, dude, I just woke up, they said quantum computing is going to break Bitcoin. Should I sell everything now? Am I fucked? And I'm like, like, it's all good, trust me. There's been 1,000 obituaries, there's been 1,000 of this, 1,000 of that.
Seen that.
And the real problem that's sort of scary for me, where I'm like, this is actual like iceberg Reddit like coming up, is apathy. So apathy is the killer, because money is really powerful. Bitcoin can be powerful if money is really powerful. But in a world where money is like it's like, well, Bitcoin's really valuable. It's like, yeah, but Bitcoin's money. We don't care for money. Like in an environment. Now that sounds very like, who's not going to get? Who knows? The world's changing very quickly. We may get to a point, and look, everyone's getting unemployed with AI. I can guarantee you, apathy towards money and financial systems and that goal or that dream of I'm grinding every day till I'm 35 to buy myself a property. The younger generation now, I'm a boomer now, but it's like the young generation is like, if I was them, they are apathetic towards it. That's why they go, fuck it, I'm just gonna go credit card debt, go around the world and just at least get something for my time. I feel like, because they feel like they've been at school the whole time, then they feel like they go to uni. Imagine you and I going to uni now, 3 years, and we're not in America. Fortunately, Hex is cheap here, but like if we're in America, signing up an unforgivable by bankruptcy loan. So you go bankrupt 100 times your life, hey, the uni's still asking for their money, that's student loan. But that's like 250 grand. If I've done a computer science degree or a graphic arts course or a graphic design course, and in that time AI has made me completely obsolete.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That's brutal. And now I'm priced out of the housing market. Yeah. So another thing is like
it's stacking.
Go.
No, it's interesting because I think like that cortisol and that management and that where you're seeing things trajectory. When like go back in time, I think there was, in 2022, like Wyre was like MetaMask, OpenSea. It was like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you could literally log into, you could buy.
Basically, we covered 90% of fiat to crypto purchases was Wyre. Yeah.
APIs, and then you had Bolt come to buy you for 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Like, how did that feel? What's that moment like?
That was super cool. I mean, that's unreal, right? Like Bolt comes in and they're like, "Hey, man, you're worth more than $1 billion," and you're like,
"Wow."
You talking to me? Like, fucking what? No, I'm not. Like, kind of this like, it's imposter syndrome, right? Like, you're like, there's no way that me and the boys, like, we've been shooting the shit, playing Mario Kart, writing code, drinking beers, like, complaining to each other, at each other's age. Like, we're not that crew. Like, we're not the polished crew. But that was really exciting. And obviously, there was a ton of opportunity for Bolt at that time. That was, dude, this is the best cortisol thing you've ever heard. So imagine that, right? You're going to get $1.5 billion. And like, as the founder or the co-founder with my co-founder, I'm just stoked. I've got a big thing with money. Like, it frustrates the hell out of me. I feel like it's really divisive. And it's like, so I was like, oh, well, this is sick. All the boys are like boys and girls, I mean, but just colloquially boys. All the guys, everyone's going to get paid. That's mad. So everyone's banging their head against the wall. At least they're going to get something out of it. But then, this was like actually like someone's writing a mad story for me. But I was like, okay, sick. Okay, cool. That's done. And I think I was meant to net like, I can't remember what it was. It was a massive, it was really, really stupid amount of money. Yeah, rounded up to 300 mil.
Wow.
Woo! But yeah, so what happened was in 2022, we were going through this transaction, and obviously this is what happens in startup land, like, good, bad, ugly, and everything changes at a moment's notice. So you get really battle tested for, it's not done until it's done. Do you know what I mean? So like in 2013, we go to raise our Series A financing or angel round financing. Oh, yeah, we're in. And you get 100 of these, oh, yes, and everyone's like fluffing your balls, mate, or whatever the term is, like, pissing in your pocket. And then it's like, oh, mad. And then you go to sign, and like, hey, guys, just need you guys to transfer the money now. They're like, we're out. And so there's a saying in startup land, which is, it's not money in the bank until it's money in the bank. And that exists for a reason. So, a face value with something like that was really exciting. But then we actually had a situation where the transaction sort of fell apart in what its original intent was, because half the people supplying the funding for the transaction, so basically this one company had way less revenue, way less distribution than us, but they know everyone and they're really rich and all this blah, blah, blah. And we were like, well, cool, we can merge with them, add heaps of value to them, and then sort of go like way bigger. Yeah. And we had 4 different companies trying to acquire us at the time, all for different ticket size items. But at the same time, sure enough, like 2 seconds later, as we were doing all the diligence and finalizing the trade or the transaction, FTX got hacked. And that was when all the money got frozen on FTX. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So that was crazy. Now, most of the people supplying the financing are crypto VC funds and fund managers. Now, most of those people have their money on FTX. So all their FTX funds are frozen solid. So they're like, you guys just want to like do the thing and we'll pay you in like a year or 2 years when it all gets unmelted or whatever. So that reverses everything. And now you're like, oh my God. But over the course of it, you kind of, you get lucky here and there where you can sell down your own stock, or, like I remember sending out a group email to the team when Ethereum was doing their ICO. And I think Ethereum had gone to $2. And I said, just buy as much Ethereum as you can afford to lose today. Don't touch it and sell it when it's worth $2,000. And that was what I said. And so that people sent me the screenshot from the hip chat message or the Slack at the time. They said, and most people got in for a little bit and then they sold at 50 or 60, which is 2,500% return. You're still stoked or whatever, but yeah, and you've got all these mad stories like that. We've got horror stories as well of losing seed phrases and stuff, but then amazing stories of seeing people that we had customers of ours that would use, so we worked with DAI, the stable coin, a lot. We had customers that were paying off their mortgage. So a really cool thing that people were doing, people were buying crypto or Bitcoin and they would put it into a smart contract. And so let's say I've bought $10,000 worth of Ethereum and it's now worth $200,000. Now I might have a credit card debt of 5 or 10 grand. I don't want to sell my Ethereum. So what I do, I collateralize it and I borrow some stablecoin against it. Yep. And I can use that to subsidize some of my bills, whether it's, I'm borrowing against Ethereum or Bitcoin, whatever your collateral choice is, just like people put a house up or a car up or something, same principle. And that has allowed, I've seen so many people get out of really sticky spots financially from that. So paying off a credit card debt, paying off uni bills, or, covering their strata and their electricity, or just these weird things. It gives you a bit of almost like a little mini line of credit with yourself. Yep. And when you look at what, when you hear about all these successful people in the world, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, they don't pay $1 of tax or whatever. What they do is, the reason why they don't pay is the tax is they don't have a lot of income. What they do, they don't get income, they get money, but they go, oi, I'm Mark Zuckerberg, I've got $1 billion, I've got $100 billion worth of Facebook stock. The bank goes, that's cool, that's sort of like a house. If we could resell the house, if you go into debt with us, we could sell your stock. And so you go, all right, cool, I'll give you $1 billion worth of stock. And they go, great. We'll give you a 20% line of credit against that. So you're 5-to-1 collateralized. So I give you $1 billion worth of this thing, Pokemon cards, Facebook stock, whatever you want. If you think it's valuable, you'll issue me a line of credit against it and basically say, till I get my line of credit back, you're not getting your thing back. Yeah. And so that in general, crypto has allowed, so a lot of people talk about big wins in crypto. It's actually these lifestyle adjustments that sort of change your life, because it's not like, oh, I bought the Ferrari or something, right? And that's mad. All that stuff's exciting, but this is hold on, I can actually figure out how to pay my school fees, my dental bills for my kids, and my mortgage. And I get to keep the asset as well. And that's the most important thing. So I keep the asset. Yep. So instead of selling the asset, which has a capital gains tax thing, or instead of making income, which has income tax, I park the asset there, haven't sold anything, I borrow against it. That's not income, so I'm not getting income tax on this money, but I'm also allowed to kind of give myself some reprieve. So you might have this group pool of assets that you can borrow against, like Elon Musk can borrow against his Tesla shares and live his life without, needing an income. In the same way, a lot of people in crypto can do that, because if they've been committed to it for a long time, with 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, well, it doesn't matter. But most of the people, if you've been sort of focused and consistent, you just put a little bit away each day or each month, whatever you can work with. But it works. There's stuff there. There's stuff there.
And I think that nature of that is, it's a unique property, I guess, to it.
There's no barrier. This is the whole, financial freedom. When you talk about all this, the promises of crypto and stuff, and we all go, I'm the biggest hype man on earth. I love the glitz and the fire, the bright, shiny lights and stuff. But the reality is, when people say, it's financial freedom, it truly is. You've got people, one of the biggest customer bases for us, it was South Americans. If you're in South America, we look for you've got dollars and you're like, might put it in an ING account and get 7% per year, right? That's how we think. Oh, you're getting 14% a year. Okay, every person in South America, Argentina, they are losing 60% a year. or whatever it is from the hyperinflation shit sandwich, Colombia, whatever. So if they're losing 60% a year and I go, oi dude, it's like how much a year? So instead of saying, oh, I'm getting 7% a year at ING, oh, I'm getting 9% or whatever, well, I'm on Finder finding the best rate. You gotta, hey,
I'll see what you did there.
That was clever. No, but so I'm on Finder getting the best rate. And after I found the best rate, so in Argentina, they don't have a Finder with the best rate. They've got what's the worst damage you can avoid. So basically inflation 60%.
Inflation avoidance. Really.
Exactly. So it's like if I'm avoiding inflation by inflation 60%, that's like having it in an ING getting 60%. Yeah. And so what do people go for? Will they go for the US dollar versus the Argentinian peso because there's much less volatility? So that's one thing. So I'm like, oh, I store it in US dollars now. But to be in US dollars, before a stablecoin existed, you would have to be, oh, hi, I'm Federico Blogs from Argentina. Cool, I go to Itaú Bank or Banco de Bradesco or BBVA or whatever it is. And like, you know, the Argentinian banks, they're like, yeah, sorry, where's your documentation? I don't have any, I live in a village with fishing rods. And it's like, well, we can't let you in the banking system because you don't have credit, you don't have a passport, you don't have blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That's a huge barrier to entry.
And so these customers were coming to you.
Yeah, they would come to our wallet partners and they would be converting their local currency into stable coins and treating that like their bank.
Interesting.
So like you would deposit money into your Westpac or you Osco into your Combank or whatever, they'd be doing the same, but their destination was to digitize their money into crypto land.
So I think that's like people who are trying to avoid inflation. And I think crypto is a great answer.
Yeah.
What sort of use cases are you interested in now? Like, what are you seeing now?
Well, now the funny thing is, so inflation was something that was sort of reserved for third world countries or third world economies almost, let's say second world economies, something like that. But the money printing hasn't stopped and it's creeping into everywhere. So what happens is it's like a virus. So just because it hasn't hit us first, we laugh at like, oh, if you had $100 in Argentinian peso or Colombian pesos last year, it's now worth 7 cents. And you know, that was an actual stat where in 4 years it went $1 million US dollars converted into Colombian pesos, turned into 71 cents. It's funny actually, because I think I messaged you when I read that article and this was in like 2018 or something. I was like, dude, you're never gonna guess how cooked is this? That's a thing. And so now, but that was Argentina, that was Venezuela and Brazil. Now, Venezuela, not Colombia, that's why I've been thinking Venezuela. Now it is Australia, it is America. I'll give you a great example. Cadbury chocolates, Easter eggs. What was it? $14 for 308 grams, 24 eggs, 2024. Now it's $19 for 220 grams, 20 eggs. So the reason we're not feeling inflation as aggressively is because we have all these cheeky tactics. So what happens is Cadbury box of Cadbury chocolate Easter eggs is not 24, it's now 20. But the pricing's sort of similar. So we're like, oh, we didn't notice. So best example of not noticing, because this literally surprised me like a week ago, Schweppes lemonade, soda water. You know those Schweppes bottles, the standard 1.25 litre bottle. So what they've done, the tight asses, they've changed the contouring on the bottle just a tiny bit. But what it is now, it's a 1.1 litre bottle. You wouldn't know that. They didn't go, hey guys, just letting you know we actually dropped it by 12.5% and we're not changing the prices. Because if they said that, everyone would be like, what the fuck? Give me my 12.5% discount. Pardon my language. But you know what I mean? Like they'd be blowing up. So
do you think
shrinkflation and scamflation? So shrinkflation, that's where the price goes up, but the quantity goes down. Yeah. Scamflation is where, oh shit, they still want the price low. We've done the quantity thing. Let's change the ingredients. So they go cheaper ingredients.
Right. But I mean, in terms of, and then how do you seeing that with crypto? Like I said, people are trying, they're going to go and see that as an out? Or
so as a store of value, just in out of principle. So, and we talk about store of value. It's like store of value, that's so boring. It's like, no, guys. The reality is, and this is something we all need to know and we all need to read and learn about, but right now, every time I have $1, or here's an example. When my mom used to go to the movies when she was young, she was like, and you might be maybe people watching this or anyone's had parents that go, back in my day, it costs 2 cents to ride the bus and 4 cents for a ticket, and I'd buy a popcorn for 10 cents and I'd come home and give my mum change. Now, I'm like, well, the reason why it doesn't cost that is because they've been printing a shitload of money and that money printer makes the dollar worth less. So now people are like, well, what can't get printed? Or if it can get printed, what what printer do I have oversight to? So let's say Ethereum, for example. Ethereum's supply can increase over time depending on the gas and the burning and all that shit, whatever. It's net down, right? Great, thank you. I can see the supply, I can audit it. That's great. It's not like is anyone watching? No. Holding down print, by the way, on the printer, money printer button. Okay, cool, that's my ski trip, thanks. That's what people are doing, but that's not registered anywhere, and I can't see someone doing that. But the moment they do that, I'm like, shit, my dollar's worth less now. Yeah. So now, over time, after they keep doing that, and look, it's the rules of the game, whatever. I got dropped in here, it's sort of Truman Show, Hunger Games, whatever it is, we've got to figure it out. I'm not complaining, they've just got access to it, that's nice. If I had access to a money printer, that'd be sick too, I'd love that. But it's obviously, there's that saying, it's only a rort if you're not in on it.
Oh my goodness.
Or whatever, right? Ripple has a problem, I think. They're just,